Raven Dialogues. I am Praful Nantia. Raven Dialogues is a series of conversations celebrating entrepreneurship and unique thinking. We intend speaking with a number of professionals and entrepreneurs who have literally walked the talk in terms of their conviction and strong belief in their ideas. And now I would like to introduce our guest for today, Major Deepak Iyer, co-founder and partner Talent North. Deepak is an alumnus of NDA Karakwasla and IIM Ahmedabad. He is a Special Forces veteran and has served with the 9th Battalion of the Parachute Regiment Special Forces. Post his Army tenure and after graduating from IIM Ahmedabad, Deepak worked with McKinsey as a management consultant. He left McKinsey to co-found Admission Table, an AI-powered admission counseling startup. A well-regarded executive coach, Deepak leads the leadership development vertical at Talent North and is the creator of our sister concern, Inner Games. Deepak, welcome to Raven Dialogues.
Thank you, Praful. Absolute pleasure to be here in this conversation.
Yes, it's, while we speak a lot, but I think today is the first time that I'm actually looking forward to understanding what your journey has been, from a special forces guy to McKinsey, to being a founder in a startup, and now as you're still evolving in our leadership journey, being an executive coach. Please give us a brief, Deepak. Exactly, I mean, you don so many hats, but who are you exactly?
Thank you, Praful. Very interesting question, not an easy one to answer, but in a gist, if I have to share what the only words that come to me as I'm even attempting to describe my journey is that it's just been like a river. Okay, so right now it's 40 plus years of this river going. Okay, and very much like the river, the attempt has been to ensure that the water is always fresh, that there's no stagnation. Okay, and that's really been my journey. So it might be a fallacy if I share with you that I planned all this, I designed all this, I wanted all this to happen in my life, whether going into the army through NDA. I don't come from a services family where my father or any of my family members were earlier in the armed forces. No, they were bankers, they were hockey players, they were sports people. Similarly, I never thought I would go into the special forces. I got inspired by an instructor there, Colonel Jha, who was then Major Jha. Subsequently, I never thought I'm going to go into the corporate space, okay, or do all these things in executive coaching or entrepreneurship. No, didn't think. But then an injury happened, some new ways of looking happened, okay, some fundamental questions I started asking myself, which then led to my stepping out of the forces, going into this entire consulting path. It just happened. Okay, so it's been like, as this river is flowing, I think, this is exactly the way it happens, right? As a river starts, it starts from one journey, from one source, which is my family, my education. But then gradually what happens is there are many streams that flow into a river. So that means suddenly waters from different sources begin to join in. And as they begin to join in, those different waters also begin to shape what happens to the river. And I think these different influences coming in, understanding what consulting is about, what McKinsey is about, happen to actually get into that journey as well. So I would say a lot of it is happenstance. I'm fortunate for the journey I've been able to have thus far. Grateful to a lot of people whose influences have shaped this journey. I would just say that. A lot of people whose influences have shaped this journey, and including you. Okay, we've done this journey, and our conversations, the values we share, the purpose we share has also shaped this Talent North. And inside of that, now a new entity has also gotten born, Inner Game. Yeah. So I think all these things are continually getting shaped by conversations, through conversations, inside of conversations.
Interesting. So for the uninitiated, Deepak, what exactly is coaching all about?
Fabulous. A great question. a great question at a time in this country when coaching is just about, on the fringes of organizations. It's not become the center stage. Okay. Now, what is coaching? Coaching, I think I want to start from a place that everybody's familiar with, which is this entire space of sports. Okay. Imagine you are just playing with your friends. You don't need a coach. You just go to school, you put the football in the center and you play. Kick, pass, kick. You're in the middle of a game and you're just playing the way you want. Okay. But imagine from just playing like that, suddenly you're playing for your house. Okay. And in each school, you have houses, right? Red house, blue house, yellow house, okay, green house. You have these different houses. And then you notice that you have these seniors of the houses who come and say, hey, you know what? We've got to win this inter-house tournament, whether it's football or hockey or whatever, or any sport, right? And then they're coming and actually giving you advice. You know what? I want you to play here. Okay. They're also noticing what you are good at. Oh, you're good in this. You're good in this. I think you're the perfect person to become right extreme. You're the perfect person to play center forward. You are very good in defending. Why don't you be back? Right. So a lot of conversation is happening where people are seeing you, your strengths, what you're good at, what are things which you may not be so good at, right? And then seeing what would position you for success and what would position your organization for success. That is your team, your football team or hockey team or whichever sports. Now that's the starting of a coach. Then notice one more thing. That happens only for the scope of that game. But imagine if you got into your school team. Then there are multiple tournaments you're playing. Then suddenly coaching, it's not that only once a year in that inter-house tournament you're getting coached. No, you're virtually practicing round the year because there are so many tournaments you're participating in for your school. So suddenly you have upped your game. And now it's not that you just get coached for 3 months. In order to win all the tournaments, you need to be coached round the year. Imagine that is still at the school level. And what happens if you suddenly get into the district team or the state team? Now, to even get into that state team and be at that level of performance, you need round the year coaching, intensive coaching every week. And now it's not just about, your school team winning. Of course, that privilege is there, but now it's a huge thing for you to be chosen to play for the state. It's almost like the world is now, seen your performance, you put in the effort, and now you have been elevated to another level where you're playing for the state. And suddenly you're the pride of your society, you're the pride of your family, you're the pride of your school, because you've been chosen for that, right? And including the state team. Imagine for the state team, you might have everybody involved right up to the chief minister, right? Who says that, I want my state to be like, you see what Naveen Patnaik takes so much of pride in hockey, right? Okay, as a chief minister, because I want my team to win. Okay, so suddenly you have everybody invested in the success of the team. And if they have chosen you to play at that level, that means there's a lot of trust imposed of the entire state on your capacity. Subsequently, if you're playing in the country, the whole country puts that notion on you. So now your performance is something you need to keep elevating every ball. If you're like a Virat Kohli, every ball you need to elevate your performance, every match, every season, every tournament. So now you are not only playing your game, side by side, you need somebody who can reflect, how you're performing. But at the same time, there is one game that all of us can see on TV, where you are playing, whether it's a hockey or a cricket, you're playing. So people can all see how you're facing that ball, whether you're striking it, you're getting out, that we can see. Or if you're bowling, you're taking a wicket, or you're scoring a goal in hockey or football. But actually, there are not two games happening. Or rather, I would say rather in the reverse, I would say it's not one game happening, which we can all see in the TV. There are actually two games happening. One is the game that everybody can see on TV. If people are watching you in the arena, if you are, for example, a CEO, then everybody can, in all your stakeholders in the organization, can see you playing that game as a CEO or a functional head or a department head or an SBO head. But there are two games happening. What is the second game now? This is what I call the inner game. The outer game everybody can see, but now there's an inner game that you are playing. Okay. Now, this inner game, most people are playing that inner game without even knowing that they're playing that inner game. And what is this inner game? This is the confines of this mind and maybe even this heart. What is inside of you? And what does this mean? This means a terrain where energy and direction is flowing for you from within.
Okay.
At all points, energy is flowing. Okay. So, for example, if you're going to go and bat, of course, you've been taught how to bowl, how to bat, how to face each ball. But at that point, you're looking in front and you're maybe seeing the fastest bowler in the world from, let's say, a West Indies team or an Australian team. And at that point, you know that this is the fastest bowler, and the last 3 times you got out by the same bowler. Now, when I'm facing that ball, I know how to play different types of balls, but inside my mind, there are a lot of thoughts happening. Okay. And some of those thoughts are increasing my energy, and some of those thoughts are decreasing my energy. Now, if they happen to be thoughts which are increasing my energy, then I'm like becoming even more assertive, more aggressive. I'm like ready to smash the ball. Yeah. But if inside I'm getting fearful, anxious, then my energy is actually coming down. I'm actually like, oh my God, how do I face this ball? Should I just, touch it? I'm actually really anxious. What's going to happen with this ball? I don't know how the ball will come high, low, fast, slow, full toss. Now, this inside, whatever is happening, nobody can see it. Only you know. Okay. And only you know if you are even noticing what's happening inside of you. Many people don't even notice. They get out. They knew they were feeling anxious. They got out and they come back. And then they don't even think of what happened inside of me. Now, this inside is the real decider of your success. Whether you're a sports person, whether you're a teacher, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an employee, whether you're an executive or a co-founder, this decides finally what your game will be. Okay. Now,
so if I were to, sorry,
this is where, what do you say? A coach comes in. Okay. In sports, mainly they look at the external game, but many great coaches, even in sports, look at both the games, the external game as well as the internal game. That's truly the coach.
Interesting. So broadly, what you're saying is that, I am going to correlate it. Thank you for the analogy of sports. I think it's easy for everybody to understand. But if I were to now look at, say, the corporate environment, right? When you talk about the inner game, are you referring to the insecurities that a person may have, or is this broader?
Beautiful, great question. When I mean inner game, when I mean outer game, what is the outer game? The outer game, and let's take cricket because in India everybody gets cricket. Okay? Sure. Outer game is everything that's happening, right? The score that you have to, let's say if you've gone batting first, whatever your target score that you have set for yourself, the team has set, or the captain has set, or the coach has set, right? Okay. If you are chasing a target, then you know that score has been set by the opposing team, the opponent team.
Right.
Now, also what happens is when I'm playing my outer game, if I'm, let's say, a batsman, where in the order am I batting? Am I going first? Am I going in the middle? Am I going in the end? How many runs have already been scored? How many overs are left? Who are the bowlers who are left to bowl? Who's currently bowling to me? How is the pitch?
Okay.
How is the stadium? Whether the crowd is supporting you or not supporting you. So all these external things is my outer game.
Okay.
Right? This is the entire thing which is happening in my outer game. Now let's come to inner game. What is my inner stadium looking like? Outer stadium, all the outer factors are these. Inner factors are, for example, what are the pressures on me right now? Is this my first match? Am I a rookie who's just been given this first chance to bat? Suddenly the thoughts that are running in my mind is, what happens if I get duck out? Will I be given another chance to play?
Right.
Yeah. Or it could be that, at this moment, somebody's unwell at home. And though I'm playing, I'm a seasoned player, but my mom or my dad is extremely unwell. I'm a seasoned player. And I know I've played many of these matches, but right now that's also a concern for me.
Right.
Okay? Maybe they're on the ICU. And I'm really fearful of that. Or maybe, for example, currently my wife has threatened divorce. Or I have a relationship and my girlfriend says she doesn't want to be with me.
Right.
Right. Now those thoughts are also running. Okay. Or for example, I don't like the player who's standing opposite me. Okay. I'm the captain of the team, but this is the vice captain. No, he's not even vice captain. He's just a senior player, but he is threatening my leadership in the team. And he has always been scoring higher than me. And so therefore, I feel that if I get a duck out now, or I don't score well, that means this person will use that as leverage to push me down in the team. So what happens is, in your inner world, there are multiple things happening in your life, multiple priorities, multiple thoughts, multiple feelings. Okay. Now, all of this is your inner game, which nobody can see what's happening in your life except you. Or for example, belief systems we carry. For example, I believe that whenever I play on a Tuesday, it will be unlucky for me. Now, I don't know where this belief got formed, but you know what?
Sure.
Every time I come to play and it's a Wednesday, and if it happens to be a 13 or a 27, then even worse for me. Right? This belief got formed somewhere. Now, the fact that it is 13, I'm already feeling nervous inside. So all of this comprises my inner world, all my thoughts, all my feelings, all my values, all my beliefs, all my life experiences that relate to these kind of situations, all my needs, which are either met or unmet. I wanted to go first, but you know, I've been sent second last. You know, so all these things are my part of my inner game, my inner world, which have a direct connection to how I'm going to actually perform today, regardless of the external environment. Yeah.
That's interesting. So tell me one thing, I mean, why coaching?
Why coaching for others?
I mean, yes, I mean, you've done so many different things, right? I mean, yes, I mean, why are you a coach?
Why am
You've done so many different things. You're capable of so much more, or so many amazing things, right? Why did you select that this is your life passion? I mean, how did you come to that conclusion?
Fabulous, Praful. Today you're bowling, what do you say? Googly on googly. And I would say
I have a performance coach in front of me, right?
I meant good sense that you're bowling some fantastic questions, right? And I'm loving answering them as well. So why coaching? I think at a very primal level, I think coaching is in my blood. Coaching is in my blood. My dad, you know, his name was M.R. Venkateshwaran, or fondly known as Raju Venkateshwaran. They used to also call him Michael Raju, right? He was at one point, you know, almost like in the state hockey team. Okay, a very prominent player. They're like entire books of all his paper cuttings. He was in St. Joseph's in Bangalore.
Wow.
As well. He played for PND, RBI, subsequently for the Karnataka state team. He was the coach of the women's hockey team, Karnataka women's hockey team. Okay.
Wow. All right.
Since my childhood, I've seen him coaching. In fact, he's got some women's India team players as well who have been his coaches. Ashish Balal at one time, I believe as a child, was coached by him. Okay.
Okay.
So virtually as a child, I've seen him always coaching. Right? Similarly, when I look at my, you know, my chacha, my uncle, paternal uncles. Okay. One is Mr. Ramesh Parmeshwaran, second is Mr. M.R. Kumar. Okay. And subsequently one Mr. M.R. Kannan. So all of them have been coaches. In fact, Mr. Ramesh has been like for the, you know, for the Indian team. He has actually led India also through some very successful coaching, right? He was also a former India player. Okay. I think, a gold medalist in the Indian team. Okay. Now, all of them have been coaches. So virtually coaching runs in my blood. Okay. And now, what do I mean by coaching runs in blood? That all of them have been in team games. And as being in team games, further as coaches, for them, it's always been the team victory. Because in hockey, you can't be a solo person. You'll be thrown out of the team. Okay. So it's never been that I've been such a great batsman or a great bowler. No, it's not been that kind of a mindset. It's been that, you know, we played in these tournaments, we have won. So that team spirit, that prioritizing the team goal over the individual goal, I think that is fundamental. That's the first thing. And the second thing is knowing how to move the energy of a team towards a guided direction of accomplishing a goal. That's been the second thing. Right. So these two things, okay, have been fundamentally in my blood. Okay. Subsequently, I also got into hockey, was fortunate. I remember my house won, okay, in school when I was a school prefect. And then subsequently, I think when I went to Indian Military Academy, my company, we were the gold medalists, right? I got a merit card in Indian Military Academy.
Very nice.
And getting that gold medal again was such a phenomenal thing. So I think for me, that's been the drive. I love making teams win. Okay, that's one. And I love unlocking people's potential. So today I might have learned many of the intricate skills of coaching, but I think that tendency to really celebrate the success of other people. Okay.
Right.
Mentor them, coach them, for them to accomplish. I think this has been way back from my school days, continued in the academy, continued in my unit where I used to, just catch hold of my youngsters and really, try and motivate them to perform higher. I think that's been a streak in me. And I think when I finally discovered this particular space, it was like a fish to water. I was meant to swim in this space. Okay. So that's how I was so fortunate to find this space. Yeah.
All right. And you've been on this journey for a while now. I do recall our conversations, I think going back to 2017, when we were just thinking about Talent North. And I think that's around the time that you started this journey. And you've done multiple programs, you've undergone a lot of coaching sessions yourself, different programs, different philosophies. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure, Praful. And you've touched on some very right things, right? Like I've gone through programs, and I'm also, I've been a coachee myself. In fact, I currently also do have my own coach. In fact, I have 2-3 coaches.
Okay.
I have somebody who coaches me every fortnight. Okay, because I'm also, and this is what is interesting, right? All of us are playing a game, whether you like it or not. Whichever space you are in, you are playing a game.
Right.
Like even right now, as you're interviewing me, you are actually playing a game, right? Which is this entire game of interview, or of creating this entire series. Okay. Or of running Talent North, or doing that particular vertical that you're heading. Yeah. Or even in your personal life, you're playing a game as a partner. Okay? Or as a father, or as a son, or as a brother. Okay. So all of us are playing these games everywhere. And what happens is, for us, what success means, like what happiness means, like, is actually having success across everything. Because we are the same person.
Right.
Okay. And if you're miserably failing in any one area, that can actually bring down our overall level of happiness. Okay. So we may be successful everywhere, but in career, if you're horribly failing, trust me, that sadness, that pain over there is likely to flow into your relationships, into your health, into your friendships, into everything. It's likely to pull it down. Yeah. So now, talking about how my journey was, when I began this journey, this was where I was. There were some areas of my life which worked beautifully. There were some areas where I was horribly failing. And that one thing which I was failing was pulling my entire performance down. Okay. So when I stepped into this place, the starting point, of course, was the passing away of my father. Now, what did that do to me? When my father passed on, it virtually rocked my world. I was in a startup. Okay. We had accomplished pre-series funding, and things did seem bright. But when my father passed on, what really I woke up to was a reality that now there was no longer the roof above my head. My dad was like a roof, and I didn't realize. I just took it for granted. He was always there for me. I said he's always there. And, his demise was a very sudden event. Okay. And it really rocked me when he passed away. Right? I even coming to terms with that reality was not easy. Now, it was then in those 10 days after his passing that for the first time, I started asking questions which I had never cared to ask myself. Those questions had never occurred to me. Okay. But one predominant thought that came in is, if my father, if he was gone, the one big thought that came to me was that I am next. Okay. If he's gone, I'm next. And then automatically the question that followed was, if I'm next, what do I want to do before I pass on? Okay. Now, that was a huge question. I didn't get an answer for that. Fortunately, I was able to get to another question, which was easier to answer, which was, if I had to pass on tonight, what would I be doing during the day that will make me happiest and with no regret to pass on at night?
All right.
And the answer that I arrived at was that the activity, not career, not profession, not job, activity. The activity that would make me happiest, okay, would be having conversations.
Okay. All right.
Conversations with people or with individuals, conversations which made a difference to them, conversations which made a difference to me.
Okay.
Okay. And that's what excited me. That's really what excited me.
Right.
And I said, I had already been introduced to coaching facilitation. And I said, yes, that's a space where those conversations make a difference to both parties. And I said, maybe that's the place I want to go to. And I think that's what gradually drew me into this place. Though at that point, I had done some leadership training, facilitation, but I was not fully certified. I was not a certified coach, nothing. But then I started walking in that direction. I didn't know the technicalities.
Sure.
Said, let me walk in this direction and I'll find people who will guide me.
Right.
Okay. There were some amazing people alongside. There was Faridun from McKinsey. Okay. There was Atul and Uday, Atul Jog and Uday Khedkar, who have been my mentors in this space. They were my coaches when I attended a leadership program at McKinsey. Okay.
All right.
And they were like my guides. In fact, both of them continue to be like my guides, right? Uday especially has been my coach. He's extremely dear. He's like almost like a guru for me. Okay. Now, one of the things that I did, which in retro, I would really, say it was a great thing which I did, is surrender. So when Uday was almost like a guru to me, means he was telling me, because he was already a coach I respected, whatever he would tell me to do, I would just plunge in and do.
Okay.
So I wouldn't doubt it. Okay. So if he said go for Vipassana, I would go for Vipassana. If he said go and do this particular program in Landmark or something, I would just go and do it. If he said go for this program also, I would just do it. He said go for unified mindfulness, I went for that. Okay. So gradually, I think a couple of things that really worked is, one, having mentors who are already where I wanted to be, who are already there. Okay. Who are guiding me. Okay. Second is, gradually I got surrounded with a bunch of people who were all alike. Okay. This were a group of coaches, facilitators at McKinsey, at another organization called Life Learning Solutions. So all of these people, and they remain close friends together, right? All of them are in the same space. And that started propelling my journey. And there was a lot of close support with each one of them. Okay. A couple of them like Shali, who's Uday's wife, another one, Madhu, right? All of them have been real close supporters. They were all guided me to this. And I think that has really pushed me on this journey. So what has been the evolution as a coach, I think, has been one of emptying myself. Because you carry a lot of limiting beliefs, which then keep you locked into a certain kind of life that you're leading. And my life was locked in, right? Okay. It was locked in with a lot of beliefs that got created in my childhood, okay, in my early career. And to become a coach, I needed to let go of that. I needed to let go. And I needed to let go of a lot more beliefs. Okay. So the last 4-5 years have been about letting go, surrendering, having a lot of courage to look at the truth in the eye. Okay. Especially knowing the truth that often in most situations, it was not that people were messed up in my life because of which things didn't happen. It was that I was messed up because of which things were not happening whenever I was in those situations.
Right.
So that therefore, only when you can look at the truth and begin to take accountability, responsibility yourself, can you begin to clean up things. If I don't understand that I am the driver who has brought myself into this mess, how can I reclaim the power to take my life to where I want to take? That's been the journey of fully understanding that I am the driver of my life. Okay. And this continues to be the journey. Okay.
Very nice. So, I mean, you said that there could be some limitations or hesitations internally, which one has to deal with, I would say first. Do you face these kind of this kind of resistance when you're coaching somebody? You know, I'm pretty sure if I was sitting on the Coachee chair with you, I would have a lot of hesitations and opening up about a lot of things. How do you deal with such situations?
Great question. Great question. I mean, I can't stop appreciating every question when it comes, right? That's the way it is, you know.
That's because you're my friend. That's why you're saying that.
Ball, you know, wow, I know the previous ball was great, but if this ball is great, I have to acknowledge this ball as well. So great ball once again, Praful. So let me share this, right? You know, oftentimes we attribute behaviors of people to intent. You know, if, for example, you and I are having a difficult conversation, I might at times say, you know what, we are having this difficult conversation, you know, because, you know, Praful has a grudge against me. He wants to behave like this with me. He wants to do this to me. He wants to do this to me. And this is normal. This is normal. It's like in a traffic jam, the person who created the jam, most of us are, you know, almost seem to think everything happened because this person wanted that traffic jam to. It's almost like that always. Okay. However, if you were to ask yourself this question, did that person wake up in the morning saying that today in that particular place in Bangalore city, I'm going to be the one who will stop all the traffic. I'm going to create this jam. Did that person wake up like that?
Obviously not.
Obviously not, right? Now that's reality. Now you are facing reality that nobody chose to be difficult with another. Right? Okay. If I'm having a conversation with Praful, right? Okay. I've got to understand that in that conversation, if there is some point at which Praful has a strong point and he's not willing to budge, either I can make it all about Praful saying he's difficult to handle, okay, and I can't handle him, and this can't work this way, or I can take a step back and say, you know, what is so important to Praful that he's trying to protect in this moment? Yeah, what is so important for Praful in this moment that sticking to that point is really, really essential for it?
Right.
Now that takes maturity to pick up. That takes patience to pick up. That takes a certain muscle that needs to be built. For me to have that kind of patience and care and concern and compassion in order to be, you know, let go of my needs in the moment, okay, let go of my needs in the moment and be able to step in and see the world from where Praful is seeing it.
All right.
This is a huge muscle. Okay, this is a huge muscle. In fact, this is one of the biggest muscles that a coach needs to have. Now, if you do not have that muscle, the moment a senior leader walks in and the senior leader saying this and saying that and all that, and if those viewpoints of the senior leader don't happen to match with yours, you might just say, you know what, I think this leader is stuck up. He's too arrogant. She's too arrogant. She doesn't listen. Right. He doesn't listen. It's very difficult to coach this person. I think this person is, you know,
uncoachable.
Uncoachable.
Right.
And by the way, you'll hear this statement a lot in the coaching fraternity. Oh, I tried to work with that person, not coachable. I tried to work with this person, not coachable. Now, the chances are the moment you say that, there are many other coaches. If some of them happen to have an exposure to that leader, will say, yes, you are saying right. That person is not coachable. Yeah. However, if you turn the mirror inwards, you might actually begin to see a different picture altogether.
All right.
It simply means that to coach that leader, you need 200 kgs of patience. But you know what? Your current level of patience and listening is currently only 50 kgs. So if you are a 50 kg coach and you try to coach somebody who needs 200 kgs of listening capacity, you don't have the capacity to coach that individual. It doesn't mean that that person is, something is wrong with that particular leader or individual and that they cannot be coached. No, your capacity is 50 kgs. Okay. And that's simply for, and there are coaches like that, right, who are very self-aware. Whenever they encounter a situation like that, they come back home and they say, I got to work on my listening capacity more, my compassion capacity more, and work it out and work it out. And the day you are that capacity, you'll realize that that conversation happens beautifully. And maybe at times, you need not even ask a question of that leader. You need to suggest, or you don't, maybe there's no need to coach. There's only a need to listen. The moment that leader completes sharing whatever he or she did and feels that he or she has been fully listened to, inside of your listening itself, something will shift inside of them. Okay. And they'll say, you know what? Right now, I realize in the last 10 minutes, I was difficult with you. Pouring my belief, right? But my apologies. Yeah, I've just been frustrated the last 3 weeks and I found you to pour it into. Right? And then you will realize, wow, I thought this person was like this, but this person's actually very chilled out.
Sure.
Because actually, people are pretty chilled out. Only that you have not yet been able to cross that obstacle, which is a function of your own capacity, whether you have that capacity to, you know, to bridge it or not. And the moment you pass it, you find easy human beings.
Interesting.
Very coachable.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me one thing. I mean, you know, how does one, as a coach, or being a coach is tough. I do get it, because personally, I don't think I have the perseverance or the muscle power, as you put it, to be so patient. But how do you deal with that? I would say that innate human desire to be prescriptive to a coachee.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful question.
Stop saying that, Deepak. You're embarrassing me.
I know, but you know, I can't, you know, every ball of yours is different and beautifully lands on me. So obviously I can't stop myself. Intuitive, right? Okay. And also because, you know, this is actually what you are doing is like what great coaching is. Each question of yours unlocks energy in the other human being. Right? Each question of yours actually unlocks energy. Okay, that's also one of the huge powers of coaching. That through your question, you can unlock spaces which that individual was not aware existed. Okay. So the question that you were asking me is,
how do you not be prescriptive? You know, you have the experience, you've seen the world.
Yeah, how do you not be prescriptive, right? So one of the great, and here I have to acknowledge a couple more people, right, who have been exemplary in teaching me what coaching is. One is a gentleman by the name of Guthrie Sayan. He's a coach to coaches. Okay.
Okay.
And, you know, and I'm grateful to Vikram, but another close colleague also, who also runs a coaching organization. Right. Both of them have really supported me. And I think Guthrie really nailed it for me. Okay. Which is, what is the real thing that a coach brings into the conversation? Okay. And what a coach really brings into a conversation is nothingness. Is nothingness. Right?
Okay. What does
Now, what does that mean? That means that at any point of time, there are multiple emotions surfacing in me, right? Like right now, if I'm going to come into a coaching with you, okay, I might be anxious. I might have, my kids are not listening, or my spouse or something, I had an altercation, or, we are too excited about going out somewhere right now. Okay. So there could be all kinds of emotions running inside me. Okay. Maybe I have heard that, maybe I've heard from your organization that you're a particularly difficult leader to coach. Okay. So I may be feeling anxious even before I come into this coaching. So, all kinds of thoughts, feelings, we were talking about the inner game, right? Okay. So there are multiple things happening both in my outer game before I came into this coaching, as well as my inner game. Even as I'm sitting with you, I'm here right now in this external construct of this conversation. Okay, which is a virtual conversation. But inside me, all those things are still happening, whatever is happening in my life. I might even be right now running a fever. And I might be thinking, oh my God, I hope I can, I can last this conversation because I'm feeling feverish. I'm feeling tired. Okay, so even that may be running in this moment.
Right.
Okay, so what happens is now when you look at all these thoughts and feelings, typically there are many needs rushing through me.
Okay.
I might have the need for ease. I might have the need for comfort. I might have a need for getting over with this. I have a need for actually, rushing out and actually heading out for my holiday. So multiple needs and feelings are right now rushing in through me. Okay. And what as a great coach an individual does is, before I even start this coaching, to release all of that. Okay, so just release all your feelings. So there are some grounding practices that they do, which are like mindfulness. Okay, but through that, one is to just turn your mirror inside, or you turn your lens inside and turn the camera inside and look inside. What all is surfacing through me? What all I need to let go? Right? And acknowledge them. Yeah, I'm feeling anxious also. I might be slightly fearful also. I'm coaching the CEO, and the CEO is I've heard is a very judgmental person. On the first conversation, the first 10 minutes, this CEO will judge me, whether I'm a good coach or not. And if by chance this CEO judges me as a bad coach, from then on, this CEO will start shutting down, right? Will not open for me, right? Maybe I have that fear also running in my heart, right? Okay, so many feelings. So first thing is, I ground all of this. I empty myself. Okay, so there are some grounding practices, some breathing practices, wherein gradually all these thoughts, okay, and these are all thoughts and feelings, right? They're like clouds in the sky. Okay.
Sure.
And my practice is to allow them to simply pass without clinging on to them. Right now, I'm engaging with them, saying, oh my God, I'm feeling anxious. Oh my God, I'm feeling fearful. Oh my God, I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling like that. But no, stepping back and saying that I am just the sky. And I'm noticing these clouds are passing. And taking 10-15 minutes even before my coaching to just watch, because the beauty is, the moment you start watching the clouds will start passing away, because you're not engaging with them. Earlier, subconsciously, you were engaging with each of them, so they were getting locked. So this cloud was passing, and the moment you started engaging with that cloud could not pass, because you have held on to that cloud, right? Another cloud is going, you held on to that. Okay. So in this practice, you take away your hand and you just begin to notice that I am the sky. This is a cloud that's passing. Oh, this cloud is also passing. That cloud is also passing. So if by chance I am holding on to any cloud, the moment I do this practice, I release my engagement with that thought, take away my hand, and I just let that cloud pass. Let that cloud. And the moment the clouds pass, you'll notice, before I start the conversation, broadly my sky will be clear. There may be some slight clouds in the fringes, but broadly my sky is clear for you. For you. Now, as a coach, what I begin to do, as I ask you questions, the clouds that are running in your head, which you are engaging with, I am now, through my questions, asking you to surface the clouds and talk to me about those clouds which you're engaging with. Because those are what, as a leader, you are tied up in. Okay. And now, inside of this conversation, I'm helping you process, why are you clinging to this cloud? Why are you clinging to that cloud? What are you getting from it? And slowly, actually, you also begin to see, Why am I clinging to this cloud? Why is this cloud
Right.
always in every meeting I'm clinging onto this cloud of insecurity? Okay. Every conversation with my partner, I'm clinging onto this cloud of dominance. Okay. Within every conversation with my child or with my colleague, I'm clinging onto this cloud of a turf game, right? Or silo, right? Okay. So now, whichever clouds you are clinging onto, because I have let go of all my clouds and I'm just sitting and watching, I have the clear sky where now we can process your cloud, which you are clinging on.
Okay.
And the moment in the conversation, coaching conversation, you begin to understand why you're clinging on to, get more agency on that and begin to let go of the clouds and lower your hand. And also begin to see that you can also play with these clouds which are passing by. Right? And you don't need to cling on to this cloud or that cloud. When you also reach that state of relaxation, right? You know what? I can play with these clouds. Okay. And I have multiple options in life. Now you have got in touch with your power.
Right.
You no longer feel stuck with one situation or another situation. Because now you realize that no, you are far bigger than all these clouds and all these situations in your life. You are the, what do you say, the almost like the god of yourself, right? Okay. All these clouds can come and go and you can be good with them and you can have fun with them. Right? This, now you are ready to play your game, whichever game you're playing. And you are going to be at your best. You are going to be at your best. Now, this is what a leader gets in every coaching conversation with a coach. This immense power, not a solution to a particular cloud. No, that's too small.
Sure.
You don't want to use a coach for that.
Right.
A coach you use to get access to your complete power in your life.
All right.
Yeah. So
another question that
if I'm clinging onto a cloud, I will be prescriptive. Then I'm not being a coach here.
Right.
Okay. The only time a coach becomes a real coach, because there's a designation coach and there is a being of a coach. I'm not talking about the title of a coach. You may call me coach because, yeah, I go about calling myself as a coach in career or profession or whatever. But I'm not being a coach if I'm clinging onto a cloud as I'm having this conversation with you. Then I will start giving you, what do you say, my gyan, my advice on, what you should do. Oh, you are clinging onto that cloud. Yeah, whenever I cling onto this cloud, this is what I do. Right? But if I have left all the clouds, then I'm not bringing any of my clouds into this picture. We are just talking about your cloud and I'm just listening.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So a question which very commonly pops up is about what kind of a coach does a person need? And I understand, there are life coaches, there are performance coaches, there are executive coaches. What is the difference between the three, if any? And how does one select what one person needs, or is it better for the coach to decide what one person needs?
Wow, man. I love the variety you go. Because every time you make me pause, and that's the attribute of a great question. A dumb question is one where the moment you say, but I've given you my answer. Then that's not a great question. A great question is one which makes you step back and say, you're having to take a few breaths, really think and collect your thoughts, and then only can you really, truly provide an answer that you think is adequate. So there are different coaches. There are performance coaches. There are life coaches. Right? What other coaches did you say?
I've heard of performance coaches, life coaches, and executive coaches.
Executive coaches, got it. So again, here I'm going to, I'm not going to try and give you a textbook answer on this.
Sure.
Okay, because if you want textbook answers, I think Google has lots of textbook answers. But I'm going to just share my 2 bits on how do you, if you are seeking a coach, how do you go about choosing a coach? Okay. So one of the first things that I would do, right, is to really ask myself which area in my life is not working. Obviously, if If an area in your life is working and swinging it, why would you want to do anything about it? Okay.
Sure.
That means clearly you're doing some extraordinary things in that space. Continue. Okay. And don't fix anything that isn't broken. Because just continue and have fun. It's working. Wow. Go for it. Right. Okay. However, if you think some area, you are doing well, but there is potential to make that good into great. So either some area that's not working or something that is working, but has potential to become far greater. That's the time you even explore that, you know what, I want to expand my potential here. I want to expand my performance here. Okay. Now I need a coach. Okay. That's the first thing.
Right.
You being very clear which area in your life you want to get coached on. Okay. The second, what I would think is that once you've chosen a particular area, there are people who have done, by virtue of having played in a particular space, have become very comfortable in that game. Like you can have coaches in all games, right? Okay, you can have a hockey coach, a cricket coach, a football coach, all of them coach in performance only. But I can't get a cricket coach and put him in football and expect miracles. Or vice versa. I can't take a football coach, put him in cricket and expect miracles. No, I can't.
Right.
Okay. So clearly there are different areas, and there are some coaches who, by virtue of their passion in that particular sport or that particular area, and by virtue of having spent time, if somebody spent time and played so many balls, so many games in that particular sport, clearly they're quite adept at it. Okay. And who have a lot of good experience, right? I mean, people speak well of them. I'm not saying just because somebody claims to be a relationship coach, go for that person. No. Check for the reputation. Reputation is a very strong thing, right? Have people experienced great results through them? Okay. Check for that. Check for that. This is the area I want to get coached in. These are the people who claim that they are great coaches in the space. What are their coaches speaking about them? Okay. And nothing is more powerful than a coachee actually sharing that, I got great results here and I really experienced movement here.
Sure.
Okay? Right. And then the last one I would say is that have a chemistry conversation. Sometimes you want to get coached in a particular area. You are clear on that area. You have found somebody who has been in that area, who has a great name in that area. But you know what? Something about that person may not strike you. Or that particular person has a very dominating coaching style. You do this, you do this, you do this. Now, whoever they coach, maybe they got results because they were used to following this coach and they did it. But you may not be the kind of person who likes to be told stuff. You may be actually pretty allergic. Right? Or sometimes the energy itself may not be right.
Right.
Or for example, it could just be male and masculine and feminine energy, right? Okay. Sometimes male, you may get it, you may not get it. Sometimes female, you may get it, you may not get it. Right. So there are these multiple dimensions, sometimes even cultural dimensions. Okay.
Right.
So the most important, after you've done these two, selecting the field and the kinds of coaches who are great in that particular field, do chemistry conversations with 3-4 of them.
Okay.
And when you do a chemistry conversation, the most critical thing is to feel that, am I feeling safe? Am I feeling safe here? Is it allowing me to be open? Am I seeing a trustful relationship building between me and the coach? Because like what I shared with you, the bedrock of any coaching conversation, any coaching relationship is trust. If you trust the coach, if something is not clicking, then maybe trust your instinct, check for another coach. Okay. Don't try to go into a coaching relationship even if you feel something is amiss, because that will stop you from being fully open with that coach. Okay. And if you are not fully open with the coach and there is something in between, it is only likely to grow and further disturb the coaching relationship. Okay. So only settle for a coach with whom you find complete safety and comfort with. So I think these are
that's a very
things that I would share.
No, thank you, because that's a fairly candid checklist for anybody wanting to uh, I would say find a coach and get benefited from these interactions. Now, there's something that I want to talk to you, something which is very close to your heart. We've been discussing about this for a while. Tell us a little bit about inner games. I mean, that's a phrase, that's a coin that you coined, and we've been hearing about it for a long time. But to be honest, we haven't really, gotten the time or the chance to sit down and really understand what inner games is all about.
Yes. Thank you for asking that question, Rafal. We have been using that phrase quite a bit, right? And if you ask me, inner game is almost a reflection of the journey I have been on in my own life.
Okay.
Which I've been on subconsciously, but more consciously only in the last maybe 5-6 years. Okay.
Right.
So when I speak about inner game, and here I'm going to just talk about my own story. Okay. At one point, I was only in the outer game. Okay. I was only in the outer game. And I'll show you share some snippets of it. If somebody watched me, let's say they were watching a movie of Deepak, and somebody was watching that game, what they would notice is, let's say in my childhood, at times there were some quarrels between my mom and my dad. Then another part of the movie clip will show you how I'm in school. Okay, maybe there was a small bunch of people, okay, who would be called the canteen gang. I would bunk classes, go and stick with them. Okay, that's where I would find my comfort with that group. Right. But the camera clip would also see me getting some people. That camera clip would also see that in my class, I'm getting along with some people, I'm not getting along. So at times I'm feeling a little isolated, only finding a bunch of people where I can feel at home, but with other people not feeling comfortable. Yeah.
Right.
In that same camera at times would pick up, let's say even in the academy, me feeling a little isolated, okay, attempting to find an opportunity to prove myself so that people would accept me. Okay, so it would just find me working very hard, trying to accomplish. Then it would see me getting into the special forces, trying to accomplish great things, stepping out, trying to get into the best business school, the best unit in the Indian Army, best consulting organization in the world. So there's this constant need to get into the best place, accomplish great results. So these are all what the external journey, and then it'll see conflicts with my wife or conflicts with other friends, or anytime anybody makes a snide remark, me cringing behind. Okay, so all these things are the external game that's happening. Now, I didn't even, for a long period of time, almost like 90% of my life thus far, I didn't even know there was any game other than that. So it was like all the things which are working well, great. If anything in my life is not working well, simply put it under the carpet. Don't show it or don't talk about it.
All right.
Okay. Almost pretend that doesn't exist. Okay. For example, even my relationship with my parents, if it's not working well, just put it under the carpet. To the outside world, everything is super. Only I know what's messed up, whom I talk to, whom I don't talk to, what I can share, what I don't share, whatever happens at my home, whatever doesn't happen at my home. Right. Now, when I got into this inner game, and today I'm even use the word inner game, right? Because I've, one individual I'll attribute it to is this individual called Timothy Galway.
Okay.
He used it in his book. Though I don't think he's the first one to have used that term in history, but he is a person who created a book by that name. Okay, The Inner Game of Tennis, and then there's a series of books called Inner Game of Work, Inner Game of Music. But there's another space also today when I'm coming to know, it's called yoga, right? And yoga is also about the inner game. Okay.
All right.
But gradually, what for me symbolized this inner game was people beginning to create a space where I could turn the camera or the lens inside and go into what's happening inside of me. So this fortunately in McKinsey, when I attended a leadership program, I shared about Atul Uday. They were my coaches. So they helped me begin to even turn the camera inside. Otherwise, I was not. That was a place you don't go into. There was so much of electric charge. Okay. Very strong emotions. I couldn't share it with anybody. I didn't feel safe.
Right.
There's so much of charge. I don't want to show somebody that there's so much of emotions running inside me. I put it under the carpet and pretend everything is normal. So I think when I found the safe space, first time I turned the camera and very slowly taking baby steps, I started going in.
Okay.
That's the time I started realizing the disconnect I felt with my father when he would have a quarrel with my wife, with my mom, with his wife.
Right.
Today I'm married and I know that, if you're in a relationship like this, okay, a quarrel is a normal thing to happen because it can't be that in everything your views match.
Right.
Okay. Right. But at that point, I didn't understand why my father suddenly became aggressive, shouted, and all of that. And I didn't realize what was happening between, him and my mom, okay? Which is a very normal thing which happens in every family. But I thought that if he's being loud and abrasive, he's doing it to me. I'm in the home and I'm feeling disturbed, and whoever is, disturbing the peace and harmony, they are doing it to me. So in my mind, there was a disconnect that developed between my father and me. Now that didn't happen in the outer world. It happened in my inner game.
Right.
So suddenly, when I'm feeling bullied at school, when I'm feeling bullied or hurt anywhere, because of the disconnect, normally a child should go running for protection to his father. But because in my inner game, the disconnect had come, I could never reach out to him for protection. And because I couldn't reach to him for protection, the belief that came in my mind when I'm facing bullying at school or any harsh situation outside in the world, the belief that came is that the world is harsh and I'm helpless. And I'm a poor victim. Okay. Now, that became almost like the philosophy in my inner game. That became the driving philosophy in my inner game. Now, imagine this boy who's constantly trying to accomplish in the world. It was as though because the world is cruel, they will only accept me if I am well accomplished. So poor boy, this boy who carries that philosophy is constantly trying to achieve in order to belong to people and feel more safe, or become stronger in order to feel more safe. Now, all that is happening in my inner world. But in my outer world, people don't see it. People only see, wow, this guy is a high accomplisher, very strong, works out hard, always tries to assert himself. No, they don't understand the small child playing the inner game, who's actually wanting safety, wanting belonging,
right,
wanting comfort, wanting a safe zone, wanting connection with people, longing for connection. Right? Now, all this became possible for me when I started understanding this inner game. And since then, I got into this journey because now I understand my needs and I realize that I can make requests. If somebody is bullying me or even pulling my leg, and at times when it hurts, I have the ability to simply tell them, hey, I'm hurting. That remark that you made, I'm feeling really hurt by it. And you know what? Because I'm able to verbalize and express what I'm feeling and what I'm needing, the other individual also becomes aware that their statement is hurting me. And 99 out of 100, I have seen people actually saying, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Because human beings are good. But if you also don't understand what's happening in your inner game, you can't even affect changes in your outer game that can then help you align your inner game and outer game beautifully. Now that I'm able to play my inner game and I'm able to express, what happens is both my inner game and outer game are now getting fully aligned. So whatever I want to accomplish now, I'm able to get it. If I want connection, I can go reach out to people, say, hey, I wanted to connect. Can we have a chat? Can we have a coffee? If I want belonging, I go and participate and say, hey, you know what? Next time you guys are going out, please include me also. Right? Because now I can understand whatever my inner needs are and I can meet those needs. Sometimes my feelings, I can then manage those feelings better. I know sometimes I'm very angry. And I know if I don't notice what is happening in my inner game, Without even knowing it, I will shout at my child. And then later on repent, why did I shout? It was not his fault. It was some worry I'm carrying outside. But today, because I understand it, I realize right now, I think in my inner game, there's a lot of high energy, restlessness. So, let me not currently engage in a conversation with my son. Let me take 15 minutes, go for a walk, and then come back. And when my inner game is stable, then I come back and I have a conversation and we have a beautiful time, my kids and me.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. So curious what you got from what I shared right now.
No, I think what I gathered was that inner games is like the safe space that you're trying to create, wherein people walk in, I would say, leaving their worries, their pretensions that people carry at the door, and just come and explore and, I would say, understand themselves.
So another simple analogy I'll give you is of a ship and the engine.
Okay.
Or a car and the engine. The car and all the steering wheel and everything else is the outer game. The tires and everything is the outer game. But the engine, from where the energy comes out, that's the inner game. All your emotions, if you look at all your actions, right, they all come from emotions. Right. Now, that is the inner game. The engine of your entire vehicle is the inner game, and the entire vehicle and where it's heading and what it's doing, how fast, all of that is the outer game. But if your engine you're not able to manage, the outer game is simply going to collapse.
Understood.
Yeah. But if your engine is strong, trust me, you can shift many things. Right? You might shift every component in your, in your car, and guess what? It'll run. But unfortunately, in life, we have only one inner engine. The outer engine will keep changing. We may be very thin, we might become muscular, we might be very fat, we may become thin. We can do all kinds of things. We can learn. If you don't know music today, you can learn music. You don't know driving, you can learn driving. You are in a corporate career, you might go into a teaching career, you might go and become a saint. Again, you might become a co-founder or a founder. Right? You can play all these other games. Inner game, that's the decider. If this is strong and healthy and great, you can choose to play any game and you'll play it beautifully.
Very nice. That's very aptly put. Very aptly put. So Deepak, that was very insightful. I think it's clarified a lot of questions in my mind, and a lot of those questions, of course, popped into my head during the course of conversations with people who are trying to understand, I would say, the benefits, the pros and cons of actually being coached. So for me, it was a really, really good, interesting, enlightening learning experience, and you've been good enough to explain a lot of very complex situations and scenarios in very simple language, using the analogy of sports and vehicles, of course. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're shifting houses. I know I caught you in the middle of it, so really do appreciate you taking out the time. Any last words for our viewers?
So firstly, of course, a huge thanks to you, Praful, for this conversation, for your very insightful questions. I think I loved responding to your questions, and I thought they were awesome. For viewers, I think I would just tell you this, that whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, you are playing two games. You're playing an outer game, playing an inner game. Okay. And if you notice, your inner game is really the engine, and your outer game is simply the peripheral. But finally, at the end of the day, what you care for are things like peace, contentment, happiness, joy. And all those don't come from the peripheries, they come from the engine. And at times, because we are not experiencing those emotions, we may say, maybe we need to take a foreign holiday, maybe we need to get a bigger car, a bigger house, go for all kinds of pleasures. But how much will you change if your engine is not generating happiness, peace, joy, contentment, calm? Because that's what your inner game does. It generates all these things. If your engine,
Right.
your inner game is not generating that, any outer game you play will not generate. So my invitation is to begin to explore getting into your inner game. So that's my wish
And
for each of you.
that's very interesting. And for somebody, Deepak, who would want to get onto this journey to, I would say, better understand what their inner game is all about. Any resources, any books, any small programs that they could, refer to at least get initiated on this journey?
So I think you could definitely pick up a book, by Timothy Galway. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis, or you can pick up, if you whichever field, Inner Game of Work, Inner Game of Tennis, Inner Game of Music. Right? That's a book. That's a great book that you can get into.
Right.
Second way, of course, is beginning to go into any mindfulness course. Nowadays, there are lots of mindfulness courses. You have Vipassana, which is very highly recommended. Okay. But there are lots, especially if you are in India, there are lots of mindfulness courses. Even go into it, or get into some yoga, not from the physical dimension of it, actually understanding the philosophy of yoga, because yoga is all about playing the inner game. It's all about the inner game.
Right. Right.
It's all about playing the inner game. So even if you're getting into that, I think that's a very powerful thing to do. Okay. Yes, I have committed my life into it. Okay. So you can reach out to any coach who already you have in your circle. Okay. And if you feel impelled to do so, you could reach out to me as well. You could reach out to Praful. Okay. So we do this at Talent North. We do this at Inner Game. Okay. So you can just write into Praful. You can write into me. Okay. And I'm sure, Praful will add in the coordinates of how to reach us.
Of course.
That's basically it, right? Reach out. Okay. Play the inner game.
Right.
Wherever you find it. And if you begin to search for it, trust me, there are ample resources around. But play it. Wherever you are, play it. And all the best.
Very nice, Deepak. Very nice. I like the ending. Play the inner game. Go and play the inner game. Very nice. Thank you so much, Deepak. I will now let you go. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure having you on this platform.
Thank you.